Hello guys, it's me Kidsbomman again, and thank you for coming back to the second part of reading the Goosebumps Attack of Jack-o'-lanterns by R.L Stine. We're going to continue on the second part to learn more story about Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns. Since I have read the first part about Drew and Walker, they're planning on revenge on those two rivals, like Lee and Tabby, who was responsible for ruining the Halloween parties and creating the costumes, like creating the scary pumpkin faces known as jack-o'-lanterns. I think you find it quite interesting about the story of the Goosebumps, the Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns. Somehow, we're going to continue reading through on the second part of this book, starting from page 40 from chapter 10. Well, okay guys, so let's continue and find out what happens next. What could be funny about those two creeps? Walker demanded. He picked up the tennis ball from the floor and tossed it to Shane. The two of them started tossing the ball back and forth across my room. It was very funny, I replied, sitting up and stretching, especially the ending. I told them the whole day dream. I could see from the smiles on their faces that they enjoyed it. But Shana scolded me. We don't have time for daydreams, Drew. We need a real plan. It's almost Halloween. Walker tossed a tennis ball too high. It smashed into my dresser lamp and knocked it over. Shane hurtled towards the lamp and made a diving catch before it hit the floor. Way to go, Walker cried. Catch it from month. He slapped Shane a high five. He hit Shane so hard. The poor guy almost dropped the lamp. Grr! I growled at Walker and pointed to the desk chair. Sit down. We have serious thinking to do. She's right, Shana agreed. We have to scare Tabby and Lee out of their skins this year. We have to pay them back for the last 2 years. We have to. So, what are we going to do? Walker demanded, dropping his long, lanky dog body into the desk chair. Hide behind some bushes and yell, boo. Bad attitude. I've been thinking of some really scary things. We could do it at the party. I started. I think. No party, Shana interrupted. Right. No party. Hertwin agreed. We worked so hard on last year's party, and then Tabby and Lee didn't show up. Grr! Just thinking about last year made me growl. Well, if we don't scare them at Halloween party, where do we scare them? Walker asked, tapping out a rhythm with his fingers on the desk. Shane and I have some really good ideas, Shana said. Yeah, I think you have to listen to Shana and me this year. Shane chimed in. We have a really good plan. It will have them shaking for a year. Really? Walker pulled the desk chair closer. Shane sat on the floor beside him. I leaned closer to Shana on the bed, speaking in a low voice, just above a whisper. Shana told Walker and me their plan, a very scary plan. It gave me a chill just hearing Shana described it. It's a very simple, Shana finished. Very easy to do, and there's no way it won't work. We'll give Tammy and Lee a Halloween they'll never forget, Shane boasted. It's really mean, Walker murmured. I gazed at the chubby, pink-cheeked twins. They were so cute-looking, so sweet and innocent, but they planned to frighten Tabby and Lee. Really was truly horrifying. It's mean, I agreed. And it's cruel, and it's terribly gross and shocking. I grinned. I like it. We all laughed, so we agree. Shane asked. We are doing it. We all agreed. We all similarly shook hands. Great, Shana declared. So, Drew, all you have to do is invite them to come trick-or-treating with you. Shane and I will do a rest. No problem, I replied, still grinning. No problem. We all cheered and congratulated each other. We knew this was a year, our year. Shana started to say something else, but my mum poked her head into the room. What are you for plotting so seriously? Mum asked. Nothing, Walker answered quickly. Just making plans for Halloween, Mum, I told her. Mum bit her lower lip. Her expression turned serious. You know, Drew, she said, shaking her head. I don't think I can let you go trick-or-treating this year. Mum, you have to let me go trick-or-treating. You have to. Or you else will spoil of our plans for revenge. Those words almost burst from my mouth, but somehow I held them in. I choked back the words and stared hard at her, trying to decide if she was serious. She was. Mum, what's wrong? I finally cried. What did I do? Why am I grounded? Drew, you're not grounded, Mum laughed. I just don't think trick-or-treating is a good idea this year. Have you seen the news stories about the people in town who've disappeared? Huh? Disappeared? My mind flashed back to my daydream. I pictured the old couple again, locking the kids up in their back room. You mean kids have disappeared? I asked. Mum shook her head. No, not kids, adults. A fourth person was reported missing yesterday. Here, look. Mum had a newspaper rolled up under her arm. She pulled it out and unrolled it. She held a front page up so we could all see it. I could read the bold black headline from across the room. Local mystery, 4 have vanished. I climbed up from the bed and made my way over to Mum. I saw Shane and Shana exchange worried grimace. Walker's expression had turned solemn. He drummed his fingers tensely on the desktop. I took the newspaper from Mum and stared at the photos of the 4 people who had disappeared. 3 men and 1 woman. The police are warning people to be very careful, Mum said softly. Walker walked over and took the newspaper from my hands. He studied the photos for a moment. Hey, these people are all fat, he exclaimed. Now we all clustered around the paper and stared at the great photos. Walker was right. All 4 people were very overweight. The first one, a bald man in the bulging turtleneck sweater, had at least 6 chins. Weird, I murmured. Shane and Shana had grown strangely silent. I guessed they were frightened. Why would 4 fat people disappear into thin air? Walker asked. Mum sighed. That's what the police would like to know, she said. But Mum, if only adults are disappeared, why can't I go trick-or-treating? I asked. Please let Drew go, Shana pleaded. It's our last year to go out on Halloween night. No, I don't think so, Mum replied, biting her bottom lip again. But we'll be really careful, I promised her. I don't think so, Mum replied. I don't think so. Once again, Halloween was completely ruined. But then Dad thought maybe trick-or-treating would be okay. It was 2 days later. He and Mum had been discussing it non-stop. You can go out if you go in the group, Dad said. Stay in the neighbourhood. And don't wander away from the others. Okay, Elf? Thanks, Dad, I cried. I was so happy. I didn't mind to stop calling me Elf instead. I surprised him with a big hug. Are you sure about this? Mum asked. Of course he is, I cried. There was no way I was going to let them change their minds. I was already halfway to the phone to tell Walker that our plan was back on. There will be 1,000 kids trick-or-treating in the neighbourhood, Dad argued. Besides, Drew and her friends are old enough and smart enough to keep out of trouble. Thanks, Dad, I cried again. Mum wanted to keep the discussion going, but I ran out of the kitchen and went to my room before she could get the word out. I called Walker and told him a good news. He said he would call Shane and Shana and tell them to get ready for trick-or-treat night. Everything was set. I had just one little problem left. I had to convince Tabby and Lee that they should go trick-or-treating with us. I took a deep breath and called Tabby's house. Her mother said she was over at Lee's, helping him get his Halloween costume ready, so I hurried over to Lee's house. It was a grey Saturday afternoon. It had rained all morning, and the storm clouds still floated overhead. The front lawns shimmered from a cleansing rainwater, and jumped over the wide puddles on the pavement. I wore a heavy grey tracksuit, but the air felt damp and cold. I wish I had put on the jacket over it. I jogged a last block to Lee's house, partly to warm up. I stopped to catch my breath on the front doorstep. Then I pushed the doorbell. A few seconds later, Lee answered the door. Whoa! I cried out when I saw his costume had a bobbin and Anthony on his head. He wore a fussy yellow waistcoat pulled over the black and yellow striped girl's swimsuit. You are a bee, I stammered. He nodded. Tabby and I are still working on it. We bought the black tights for my legs this morning. Cool, I said. He looked really stupid, but why should I tell him? Tabby greeted me as I stepped into the playroom. She had opened the package containing the tights and was stretching them out, tucking them hard between her hands. Drew, have you lost weight? She asked. Excuse me, no. I suppose you like your tracksuit baggy like that, huh? She's so mean. She turned her head away, but I saw her snigger to herself. She thinks she's really funny. Is that your costume? She asked. I decided to ignore her nasty jokes. No, I'm going to be some kind of superhero, I think. I told her. You know, wear the cape and tights. What are you going to be? A ballerina, she replied. She handed the tights to Lee. Here you are, B-legs. Do you have some heavy construction paper? What for? Lee asked. We need to make the stinner, you know, to glue to back of your tights. No, Lee protested. No stinner. I don't need a stinner. I'll only sit on it anyway. I let them argue for a few minutes. I kept it off it. I kept out of it. Lee finally won. No stinner. Tabby pouted for a while and made faces at him. She hates it when she doesn't get her way. But he's even more stubborn than she is. Listen, guys, I started on Walker and Shane and Shana and I are all going to trick-or-treat together this year. I took a deep breath, then asked my question. Want to come with us? Yeah, sure, Lee replied. Okay, Tabby agreed. And that was that. The trouble set. Tabby and Lee were in for the most frightening Halloween of their lives. Unfortunately, we were too. The week dragged by. I counted the hours till Halloween. Finally, a big night arrived. I was so nervous I could barely get my superhero costume together. It wasn't much of a costume. I wore a bright and blue tights and a blue top. I pulled a pair of red boxer shorts over the tights. For my cape, I cut up a red tablecloth we didn't use anymore and tied it around my shoulders. Then I pulled on a pair of white vinyl boots. I had a red cobble mask that just covered my eyes. Super Drew, I proclaimed to the mirror. I knew the costume was lame, but I didn't care. Tonight, well, it wasn't about costumes. It was about terror. It was about scaring two kids to death. I grabbed a large brown shopping bag from a cupboard to use as a trick-or-treat bag then. I scrambled down the stairs, hoping to get out of the house before running into my parents. I hoped to avoid a last-minute lecture about how I had to be careful outside. No such luck. Dad stopped me at the bottom of the stairs. Well, good question, Elf, he exclaimed. What are you supposed to be? Please don't call me Elf, I muttered. I tried to get past him to the front door, but he blocked my way. Just let me take one photo, he said. I'm a bit late, I told him. I was supposed to meet Walker in the corner at 7:30. It was already 7:45. Be careful out there, my mother called from her study. Dad disappeared to get his camera. I waited at the bottom of the stairs, tapping my hand on the banister. Don't talk to any strangers, Mum called. Very helpful. Okay, one quick shot, Dad said, returning with his camera raised to his eye. Stand against the door. You look great, Drew. Are you Wonder Woman or something? Just a superhero, I mumbled. I've really got to go, Dad. He steadied the camera over his eye. How about a smile? I gave him a toothy grin. He clicked the shutter. Oh, right. Did it flash? He asked. I don't think I had a flash on. He examined the camera. Dad, I started. I thought about Walker and standing by myself on the corner. Walker hated waiting. I knew how tense it'd be. As tense as me. Dad, I've got to meet my friends. If you see anyone suspicious, run away, Mum called from her study. Let's try again, Elf. Dad raised the camera again. Smile. He clicked a shutter. No flash. Well. Whoa. He checked the camera again. Dad, please, I begged. Oh, wow, he murmured. Would you believe it? No film? He shook his head. I thought I had a film in here. I'll go upstairs and get the roll. It only take a second. Dad, I screamed. The doorbell rang. He startled us both. Probably some trick-or-treaters, Dad said. I leaped to the door and pulled it open. I squinted into the yellow porch light. A boy stood there, all in black. He wore a black sweater and black trousers. A black wool ski cap was pulled down over his forehead. He had black makeup covering his face, and he wore black gloves. Cute costume, Dad declared. Get him some sweets, Drew. I growled, Dad. It's not a trick-or-treater. It's Walker. And I pushed open the storm door so Fat Walker could come in. I thought you were going to meet me, he said. Dad stared at Walker's all-black costume. What are you supposed to be? He asked. A dark, stormy night, Walker replied. Huh? Where's the stormy part? He asked. Here, Walker replied. He raised a black plastic water pistol and squirt me in the face. Dad burst out laughing. He thought that was a riot. He called Mum in from a study to take a look. We're never getting out of here, I whispered to Walker. We are going to miss Tabby and Lee. We had a night all planned out, down to the minute, but now the whole plan could be ruined. I had a knot in my stomach. I could feel it tightening. The cape suddenly felt as if it were choking me. Mum and Dad were admiring Walker's costume. A dark and stormy night. Very clever, Mum said, but how will anyone see you in the dark? We had better be very careful crossing the street. Mum had advice for everyone tonight. I couldn't take it anymore. We've got to go. Bye, I said. I shoved Walker out of the door and followed right behind him. Mum called out more warnings for the house, but I couldn't hear her. I pulled Walker down the driveway, and we hurried towards the corner. That's where we were supposed to meet Tabby and Lee, our two victims. You should have stayed on the corner, I scolded Walker. Maybe Tabby and Lee have been here already and left. But you were so late, Walker protested. I thought maybe something was wrong. My heart was thumping. The knot in my stomach grew even tighter. Okay, I argued. Let's just calm down. It was a clever cold night. A light frost made a lawn silvery. Overhead, a silver of moon rested near a cluster of bright stars. Most of the houses on the block had their lights on. I saw two groups of little trick-or-treaters across the street. They were all hurried up to the same house. The dog barked excitedly. In the house next door, I turned my eyes to the corner where we were supposed to meet Tabby and Lee. No one there. Walker and I stopped under the streetlight. I adjusted my cape. It was really choking me. I saw that it hadn't cut short enough. The bottom was soaked from a dragging along the ground. Where are they? I demanded. You know, they're always late, Walker replied. He was right. Tabby and Lee loved to keep people waiting for them. They will be there any second. Walker said. A tall hedge ran along the corner garden. Walker started pacing back and forth from a hedge to a cob. His outfit was so black. When he stepped into the shadow of a hedge, completely disappeared. Could you stop pacing? I'd started. But my voice caught in my throat when I heard a cough from the other side of a hedge. A light breath cough, not a human cough, more like an animal growl. I turned and saw that Walker had heard it, too. He stopped pacing and stared at a hedge. I heard a scraping sound. The hedge appeared to shiver. Who's back there? I choked out. The hedge shook again. Shook and cracked. Hey, who is it? Walker cried. Silence. The hedge shook harder this time. Is this the joke or something? Walker demanded in a trembling voice. Another low animal growl. No! I cried out as two ugly creatures came snowing through the hedge. I saw only a blur of ragged fur, open jaws, salvia-covered teeth. Before I could move, one of the creatures leaped onto me, snarling and growling. It shoved me roughly down to the grass, and it dug its fangs into my shoulder. I let out a shrill roar of pain. I tried to scramble to my feet, but a snarling creature had held me pinned to the ground. Stop! I struggled to scream free as the creature tucked my cape over me, covering me like a blanket. Hey! I heard Walker's angry shout, but I couldn't see what was happening to me. No! Let me go! I shrieked with a frantic burst of energy. I reached up on one hand. I swiped at the creature's drooling face. To my shock, the whole face pulled off easily. A mask. I held a rubber mask in my hand. I stared up at the grinning face. It took me a few moments to recognize the boy. Todd Jeffrey? Yes, Todd Jeffrey, the whole high school kid who had frightened us all at least partly 2 years ago. Todd, I murmured. I frantically pulled the cape away from my face. Gotcha, good, he whispered. He let go of me and stood up. You creep, I cried angrily. I tossed a rubber mask in his face. He caught it in the one hand and laughed. Drew, can't you take the joke? Huh? A joke? I screamed. I climbed to my feet and furiously began brushing myself off. My cape was totally tangled and covered with wet brown leaves. Walker had been wrestling with the other creature. The guy pulled off his mask. Of course, it was Joe, Todd's disgusting friend. Hope we didn't scare you, he teased. He and Todd laughed like hyenas. They fell all over each other, slapping high five and low fives. Before I could tell them what jerks they were, I heard more laughter. To my surprise, Tabby and Lee came stepping out from behind a hedge. All four of them enjoyed a good laugh together. Grr! I uttered a furious growl, and that moment I wished I really were a superhero. I wanted to plough my super fists into their laughing faces. Or maybe spread my cape and fly away. Far away, so I wouldn't have to see any of them anymore. Happy Halloween, Drew, Tabby called smugly. Happy Halloween, Tabby and Lee repeated in unison. grinning their disgusting grins. How you were, Lee, and standing back there? I demanded angrily. Not enough? Lee sniggered. He and Tabby both burst out laughing again. We were standing back there the whole time. Tabby declared, I love Halloween, don't you? I growled under my breath, but I didn't say anything. Keep cool, Drew. I instructed myself. Tabby and Lee and their two high school buddies played the joke on you. But they won't have a last laugh. When the night is over, I told myself Walker and I will be the ones who are laughing. When Shane and Shana arrived, we were going to terrify them. Truly terrify them. Todd and Joe had pulled their monster masks back on. They tilted back their heads and howled like wolves. Todd's mask was really gross. It rubber silver dripping all over the long, pointy fans. They're not coming trick-or-treating with us, are they? I asked Tabby. Tabby shook her head. She adjusted the terrier on the top of her blonde hair. No way, Todd replied from behind her ugly mask. Joe and I are too old to trick-or-treat. Especially with you, crybabies. Then, why are you wearing those monster costumes? Walker demanded. Just to scare kids, Joe replied. He and Todd laughed again. Loud, cruel laughs. Joy grabbed my mask and pulled it down to her chin. Todd rubbed the back of his hand over Walker's cheek, smearing a black makeup. Then they ran off to find some other victims. What creeps! I was glad to see them go. I stood watching them, making sure they didn't change their minds and come back. Nice guys, Lee said. He set his orange and black trick-or-treat bag down on the grass. Then he adjusted his big antennae. I heard kids laughing across the street. I turned and saw a group of 4 kids, all monsters and goblins, running up a driveway to a house. Let's get going, Tabby said. It's getting cold. Aren't Shane and Shana supposed to meet us? Lee asked. Yeah, they'll catch us up, I said. We crossed the street and started towards the first house, a tall, brightly lit brick house with a smiling pumpkin cut out in the front window. As we made our way up the gravel driveway, I glanced at my watch and gasped. Nearly 8:15. Shane and Shana were supposed to meet us on the corner at 8. Where were they? They were never late. Never. I swallowed hard. Was this Halloween about to be ruined too? Had something gone wrong? Okay, so guys, we're going to stop there on page 62 on chapter 14. I hope you guys have found it really interesting, something more entertaining, mostly fun and enjoyable, but it's a bit gloomy and absolutely creepy about this story of the Goosebumps and Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns. I'm going to take a break for now, and I hope you'll see you in a short while.